Agreed. Amendment number 6, which I move, 6 to 8 inclusive, are related, and if we need to discuss them, we shall. Anybody offering? Deputy Catherine Connolly.
I'm not sure what the government is doing. If the government is agreeing with the amendment, I think that's positive. And I've already spoken in the Dáil, so if the government is agreeing with it, I welcome the agreement that the amendment put. I want to thank the Seanad for so diligently looking at this and taking on board the arguments that were made in the Dáil and looking at this, and we're asking for the deletion of the sections as set out, not on the basis to be negative, but on the basis of the reports that were produced for the government. 3 actually, 2 interim reports following on a basic report which said that there was a precondition necessary for funding to be given to the City Council and the County Council in Galway, and that was absolutely fundamental before any changes would take place, and also a recognition that the local authorities were working very well on the ground. They already had existing share services, and that was an acknowledgement. And furthermore, since then, my attention has been drawn to a research carried out by UCG and the Economics Department there, and they have done a whole review of the literature in relation to this matter. And I draw the Minister's attention to it, and this is absolutely non-political, and it has been produced by the university and made available to anybody that wants it. And they point out that the research evidence examining scales of economies in the Irish case is virtually absent. And so the proposal came from government to merge Galway City Council and Galway County Council on the basis of a number of things, but primarily because it would be more cost efficient and because of economies of scale. And this research points out that the evidence is virtually absent. And when they look at the international, and they go on to say, with the notable exception of Connolly, which was a study carried out by him in 2014, which raised concerns about the risks of intuition relating to the perceived benefits that flow from bigger councils and local authority mergers. And then that paper goes on to look at international research. And at the very least, Minister, the most basic conclusion is that it's absolutely inconclusive. Some research says yes, some research says no. However, it points out that this huge divergence, and in a sense England, Scotland is an outlier because they're much bigger, whereas an awful lot of the local authorities across other parts of Europe and the world have much smaller local authorities working very efficiently. Finally, I would think democratically it's a very bad step, and I'm glad that you're now going back in it, to increase the size of local authorities on the basis of no evidence, number one, but also in blatant disregard of the Lisbon Treaty, which you constantly quote in this chamber for lots of reasons. But you failed to comment on Article 10, which talks about decisions being made as close as possible. Is my time up? Sorry. No, sorry, at the time, sorry. Yeah. As close as possible to the people on the ground. So if you're in agreement with the amendment as put forward by the Seanad, I welcome that. Any future proposals should come forward on a case-by-case basis in relation to Galway, and to set out why this is necessary, why it's proposed and on what it's based. But a fundamental condition precedent is to give adequate resourcing and adequate staffs to the 2 local authorities who are absolutely struggling on the ground. Thank you.